Hello, welcome to my podcast. My name is Anne, and today we're going to be talking about Normal People by Salley Rooney. But basically, this book is about exploring relationship of Connell and Mary Ann, which offers a lens into the diaspora of love, friendship, and identity while shedding the light on cultural and social isolations that shape their journey and eventually shape who they are throughout this story. I was inspired by this to choose this book because it's a book that it's probably one of my favorite books to read because I've read this book and it's really good. And Sally Rooney is like one of my favorite authors when it comes to romance and stuff like that. So I asked people a question, and we'll get to that at the end. But I asked people the question: how do you think as an individual might go through challenges that are related to communication, societal expectations, mental health, and the influence of social class differences in a relationship? Or to dumb it down, because I have to dumb it down for some people, how do you as an individual go through those things in a relationship, or how do you deal with it? First, to start off, I am going to be, how do you say? I am going to say my answer and then I'm going to dive into the book and stuff like that. I think me as an individual, when it comes to these things that can be a problem in a relationship, I think I can go through these challenges by knowing how the other person is or how the other person acts. So it says here, how can you go through these things? Within myself, knowing me, I know that communication is something I do need to work on. But at the end of the day, if you want something to work with somebody else, you need to communicate. Like, no matter what, you have to communicate and honestly say what's on your mind, because then there's no understanding between the two of you if one person doesn't know what the other person wants or is thinking about. But back to the main question, I think that when you are finding a partner, you look for their qualities and their aspects of their life. For me, yeah, I go through those things by knowing myself and who I am when I'm with someone. So, for example, like, I think that I would be able to maybe adjust to myself or make myself better for that other person and everything like that. So, like when it says societal expectations, I don't think I go through societal expectations, but from other people's point of view, I could. Then again, at the end of the day, why am I caring about what other people think about me? I'm me, my own person. What's the other person's opinion about me going to do for my life? It's not going to do anything. The only thing that it is going to do is just make me think more deeply and make me dive more deeply into my brain, right? And just make me more insecure about myself. And I don't want that. So when it comes into a relationship, I feel like self-love is obviously very important, because if you don't have self-love, then you can't love another person because you don't even love yourself. Ooh! Bars! Oh, God, you cannot tell me nothing. Anyway, so when it also says the influence of social class, I think when it's asking that question, okay, so when it says social class, how the other person lives as well. So that means I could be middle class, my partner could be upper class, and that's fine. Like, I don't think, actually, no. For example, me and my friend, he's an athlete and I'm more of a nerd. And I don't know if that can be seen as a social class, but because of that, I see that there's a difference in our relationship. Like, he may not understand as to why I'm upset about failing my AP stat quiz, and I may not understand as to why he's talking about his teammate couldn't pass the ball to him and he couldn't kick in the goal. Like, I wouldn't, like, I think we would be able to understand that because we're both kind of mature, but that's like an example. So it's like when there's a difference in a relationship, you have to sit back and realize that y'all are both different people. You guys are not the same people. So then and there, you're going to have to adjust and, I'm gonna say maneuver around the edges, I guess, and get to understand that person. But honestly, when I think I would go through these challenges, it all leads down to moving yourself out of your bubble, talking about how you feel, understanding how you as a person feel, how your partner feels, and ways you can deal with it is just by just understanding who you are as a person and what you want in a relationship. So now let's go back to the book. So basically, to dumb it down, Normal People is, as I said, a book by Sally Rooney, and it's a coming of age tale that goes into young love to high school lovers, mental health, identity, miscommunication, and the evolving of social and political climate. And this book is based in Ireland. And honestly, I think as a high school student myself, but I will be graduating, I think in this day and age, social media is also a very big part of people's relationships, because I feel like as if like or people are just too prideful in a relationship. Like, some people have a big ego, be too prideful, they're not humble enough. And I feel like that's also a very big part of relationships and stuff like that. So I think that's something people need to also take account, and like people also need to take account of when they are, in a relationship and such. But for the first main point, during the two main characters are Marianne and Connell. Yeah. And Marianne, she's a, how do you say, she's an outcast, while Connell, he's, a cool boy, he's a jock, like he's a cool kid. So the way that they tied together was because Connell's mom cleans Marianne's house. So it's like they see each other every day after school, stuff like that. Then one day after school, they started get talking and everything, and they delve into their feelings a little bit, you know? That impacted their relationship because if Connell was seen with the outcast, he would have been seen as a weird one. And Marianne took that into account and was like, I understand I'm a weirdo. I don't talk to people like that. I'm going to take that into account and I'm going to, adjust and, I will leave you alone at school and outside of school when we are seen with you. Like when we're outside of school one-on-one, like we can talk, do whatever and stuff like that. But when we're in school, I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to love you. I'm going to leave you alone kind of thing. So yeah. And basically they go through high school and everything like that. And Connell, him being a little dumb little boy, they go through high school and everything. They're in their senior year now. They're still like, they're talking, but they're not dating. Like they don't have a title with each other yet. And people are asking, oh wait, no. Excuse me. People know about them now. Excuse me, I read this wrong. People know about them now. And his friends are like, oh my gosh, Connell, who are you taking to the dance? Like da-da-da-da. And he feels pressured to ask Marianne. And he's just like, oh my gosh, like, bro, like, I don't want, like, trying all cool and everything like that. And he ended up asking someone else. And, Marianne hears about this. And she's obviously very upset, as she should be, because why are you all up on me and everything like that? And then all of a sudden, you decide to go to the dance with somebody else. Like, oh, you are moving mad weird. After that, I would have just dropped it because I see the kind of person that you are. Not cool. Marianne hears about this. She's upset. So now she begins to miss school. And she only comes to school to take her tests, exams, all of that. So they take an exam. Connell, he got a perfect score, while Marianne got a near perfect score. So that leads to Connell's friend wanting Connell to call Marianne to brag about his score. But Marianne was like, I'm not going to pick up your call because you still haven't talked to me, so I'm going to apologize about what you did, right? She was like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity and do something with my life and become a better person. So after she had left school, Connell, he became sad. Womp womp. He became sad because of how things went down. He realized that he was immature and how he treated her, and he began to feel ashamed. I'm not going to say that's rightfully so, but at least you're taking your thoughts into account, even though it's kind of too late, He will call Marianne, and she wouldn't pick up because Marianne, she's in college now, so she's developing as a person. So she becomes someone new. She's not the person she was in high school. She's not an outcast anymore. She's making friends, becoming happy, like adjusting to her new surroundings, and she's, thriving without Connell. So, time goes on. Connell, he eventually goes to the same college as Marianne, and he sees her from a distance, and she looks different. She's with her friends, and he's, he looks sad, depressed. Not seen as the cool kid. He's seen as the social outcast compared to his classmates. And now since he went to this new college, he didn't have the best intellectual abilities as well. And since, he didn't have a lot of friends, he had more time to himself, he began to understand human nature and human intimacy, which is also very important to have as a person. You need to understand how people work. You need to understand how to be intimate with the other person. You need to be vulnerable and all that stuff like that. So during this time, Marianne and Connell are reinventing who they are as a person, which I personally think is great for both of them. It's always good to find who you really are and, do what you really want to do. So throughout college, they both go through different relationships and challenges with and without each other. And eventually they get back together again. Then they break things off because after graduation, Connell goes to New York to become a creative writer. And, during this time, they're dating. So they eventually find each other and, they talked it out and everything like that. And they're like, you know what? I don't know, because she lives in Ireland. He's moving to New York. That's pretty long distance. They go off to college and everything like that. They go their separate ways, like officially. And Marianne is like, I will always be there for you no matter the time of day. Like, I understand you're going off to start off your new life and I will always be here for you. So I think that their relationship, as I wrote down here, it can be viewed as a story of resilience and personal growth. The decision that they had to keep their relationship private during high school is seen as a practical approach to social expectations. When Marianne wanted to avoid things and such, this is seen as a form of self-preservation, while as Connell struggles with depression and comes to the realization of his behavior, are seen as an experience that strengthens their bond. So Connell had to take his time and realize that I need to become a better person if I want to get this girl back. I think that their time apart in college really helped them because they both had personal growth and they were able to both find who they really are as a person. In the end, their connection is seen as strong and resilient with the challenges and separations of their evolving lives. So something that we can conclude from this whole story is, or something that normal people offers. It offers us the intricate dance of love, the isolating nature of social expectations, and the impact of cultural isolation. My final thought with this is that their journey serves as a very important reminder of the enduring nature of human connections, even when faced with challenges, time and distance. This book, Salley Rooney, she was able to capture the resilience of human spirit and the transformative power of self-discovery. Now on to the interviews. And for my friend Kevin, he was able to give the best of the best answer, I think, in my opinion. So he says, individuals often find communication as a significant challenge in their relationships because when adversity inevitably arises, it's easy to misunderstand others, and without clear communication, the problem only becomes worse. He says societal expectations lead to challenges in relationships because an individual might see what they think society expects general relationships to be like and try to model their own after them, and that can be stressful. I really like that one. Mental health kind of goes without saying, honestly, because if one's mental health isn't right, then it's going to be hard for their relationship to be, because it's going to take both sides at their best to keep the relationship healthy. And he says social class differences, like societal expectations, causes people to get caught up in trying to be flashy and don't always know how to accept one's background or their own. So trying to put on a front can cause hardships in the relationships. I honestly think that was like probably like the best answer. And Imani LaChapelle, she said, cry. That's real. So for Kevin's, honestly, everything that he said, I completely agree with, because especially like for the societal expectations, you can go on social media, see something like you can see like a happy-go-lucky relationship, and you're like, wow, I want that. And I'm honestly one of those people, like TikTok, for example. I see like all these cutesy relationship couples and everything like that. I'm like, oh wow, I want that. But then at the end of the day, I have to sit back and realize my future boyfriend can't give me that. He can only give me what he can provide, and that's fine with that. Like you don't have to have the perfect A100 relationship, but as long as you and your partner both know what you want, then I think that relationship can work out pretty well, because it's like you need to know what your partner wants, and your partner also needs to know what you want, because then that relationship can go much better than what you had expected. And honestly, it's just like in a relationship, don't let social media affect what you and your partner have. Like, I have an example. Like, social media for me, like, if I'm going through something in my life, then I see it on my screen, and I don't like that. Like, I can't let what I see on my screen dictate my relationship with somebody, because it's just so, like, contradicting, and it's like, it can mess up what you and your partner have, and that's no bueno. So then, when he says social class differences, I also want to touch on that, because people don't, like, people want to show off. People want to show off that they're the best of the best and everything like that. And because of that, someone cannot understand as to why they act like that, or why, you know, like if say I came from I used to grow up in PG County, and people may not understand like my life growing up. I don't remember much of it, but it wasn't the best of the best in my opinion. But my life growing up in PG County wasn't 100%, wasn't A1 and everything like that. Like, and if I tell somebody that, they wouldn't be able to, they can understand it, but sometimes they may not be able to grasp or understand what I went through and everything like that. They may be like, oh my God, it's in the past, just rub it off, or something like that. Or, a caring partner could be like, oh, like, I'm sorry that you went through that. And it's just, like, you can grow from that experience and just do something better with your life and everything like that. And it's just like, I think understanding is a very vital part in a relationship. And I think I myself am a very understanding person when it comes to what my friend, family member, anybody needs, because that's literally the only way things can work with you and your partner. Understanding, communication, effort, all that stuff. So, and when you are also in a relationship, both people, they grow together and everything like that. And if you guys don't grow together, then it's just like you guys are always going to be stuck with the same person as you are. And growing together includes communicating, understanding. Like, I know I keep saying it, but it's the truth, and it's the fact of the fact. And I think in Connell and Marianne's relationship, they were able to grow with and without each other, because they both had to step away from each other to realize who they are and who they needed to be for each other. And they realized that, and they saw who they really were, and they got back together and everything like that. And things had to obviously cut ties, because, you know, Connell went to New York and everything like that. But yeah, I honestly think that this book is something everyone should read, because it dives into real world things, like social, cultural isolation, everything like that, understanding all that jazz, like for your own relationship and stuff like that. Like, you could take into account of what they went through and think about it, and just like, wow, I could really, learn from this and everything like that, and take not advice, but like take this book as a lesson. So I think this book is honestly worth the read, because I'm honestly not much of a reader. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I hope this isn't long because I have to edit it, but thank you so much for listening. Have a nice night.